big earthquake that burst a pipe in the wall that flooded the place, semi-abandoned attic room, extremely suspicious hotel. Next, I moved into this extremely suspicious looking hotel in the city where my new job was gonna be. Spent, I think, 3 weeks there and then ended up crashing in my friend's room. Again, mat on the floor kind of deal. But this time, it was in a really nice, fancy apartment. And for the first time ever, I think in my entire life, I was staying in the master bedroom with the bathroom directly attached, you know? And my buddy had a second desk in his room already, so he just cleared that out, moved a few chairs, and suddenly I had space for my floor mat and a desk to work on. The room was really dark though and had like no natural light, but he had bought these like meter-long, extremely strong, bright white LED light bars. It was like getting flashbanged every time they came on unexpectedly. As he says,
"There's not a lot of natural light in here, so I brought the sun into this room."
After this, we moved into what was supposed to be a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment with a living room and a tiny office space and a kitchen, but I just turned that little office space into a 4th bedroom. Now this place was tiny. I thought the attic was small, but in terms of square footage, this was maybe 56 square feet? Like fingers to toes, I could easily reach across the room one way and barely couldn't reach it the other. But there was actually a pretty high ceiling, so once again I got a loft bed with a desk underneath and effectively increased the usable surface area by about 50%. But there was actually no door, so I just bought these supposedly heat and soundproof curtains to use in place of the door. It barely worked, but hey, the rent was real cheap, so got my Tetris glasses on and got to work. The room was actually just about the same length as a twin bed, so we were 3 wall in it this time. I used the same loft bed, desk, and light strips rig as before, but this time it was kind of rickety, so I got these tension rods from the shower section at the hardware store and used them to brace the top of the loft bed against the far wall. And then I shoved some styrofoam in between the frame and the 3 contact walls to stop it from shaking. Used the same desk as the last place, but since this was always intended to be a pretty temporary stay, I didn't want to get any new furniture. So I just used tape and moving boxes to rig a good enough cardboard clothes sorter. I was actually pretty proud of this thing. For cardboard and packing tape, got a solid like 8 months use out of this bad boy. But the one big problem with this room, there's this big window in the wall that was single pane and slightly curved. So in the winter, it provided little to no insulation. So I woke up every morning shivering and the central heating didn't pipe into my room. So at some point I was wearing so many layers to sleep that it cut off my circulation in the night and I just couldn't feel my entire arm when I woke up. I was just legit afraid I'd had a stroke or something. So I ended up getting a space heater. But the second problem with this window, because of the slight concave curve and the way it lined up with the sun every morning, one particular spot in my bed would heat up like crazy despite the rest of the room being freaking freezing. And that one spot happened to fall on my arm while I slept pretty often. You know that movie The Ant Bully where like bad kids burn ants with a magnifying glass? It was basically sleeping under one of those. As soon as the sun got a certain amount above the horizon, it would just start burning my arm. Guess it made for a pretty decent alarm clock though. But I ended up taking another set of those heat and soundproof curtains and threw it up over this window, so solved both the insulation and the ant bully problem. And these support rods doubled as pretty nice drying racks. Plus I made this little cardboard ledge that was the exact width that the door frame was from the wall, so I would have a place to put my phone, wallet, and keys without noticeably taking up any extra space. And final touch, I put these color-changing, remote-controlled LED string lights up around the top corners of my room for Christmas, and they were actually pretty sweet, so I just left them up for the rest of the year. Could just chill in red, or blue, or green, or yellow. Solid preference for purple, though. And a quick side note about the bathroom situation in this place. I don't know if somebody was just messing with me, or if we were genuinely just burning through toilet paper. But there was a while where, like, I'd reload the toilet paper in the evening, and I put it over, right? Because everybody knows that the rule for toilet paper is that it goes over. But when I got home the next evening, I'd go to get some TP and the roll was going under. And at first I thought I was just tripping, so I'd flip the roll, you know? But then I got home the next evening and it was under again.
And this went on for like, I don't know, like 2 weeks or something.
And I asked my housemates about this, and they were like, I don't know, man. It's one toilet for 4 butts. Maybe we're just replacing it that fast. Alright, sure, I guess.
But part of me wonders if they were pranking me, just gaslighting me by flipping the roll back and forth.
After this, I moved back into my parents' house for a little while, but then, at last, we've come to the reason that I'm making this video in the first place. I moved out and finally got my own normal-sized room in a decent building that was not tiny, wasn't owned by friends or family. Stay tuned.